Hello everyone, welcome back. We continue our journey talking about Sandbox Advanced, and we got to route part, module 4, talking about route in Sandbox. Already we have been working with, also we reviewed that in Sandbox Proxy Overview, so we ignore the basics and we go to more advanced one. So we have the file, which is most of the part from the previous sections and videos. And this route that you can see here is a global object, and it has role actions, and you can see two actions we already used, and the reason was we needed them to hijack the DNS. Actually, these are part of the route. Let's go to documentation. uh, from the very beginning, configuration, and then we see the route object, which is a global object. And we have the route, we have some roles that we have defined here. These are roles. And then the role set, which we can do something more extra, like for example downloading files for GeoIP and GeoSite. We have final, which is going to select the final outbound or the default outbound that we want. Auto detect interface we're already working with, which is this one, to select the outbound for the interface that we want to send the packet or request to. Default interface is the same, just we provide the name. And these are the network mark, which is about firewalls and marking a packet. And default domain resolver, that sometimes we saw the sandbox gives us warning that you didn't define domain resolver, but on a outbound we define that domain resolver. We can remove both of them and having a default domain resolver here in a route object. Also, we have roles. So we already saw roles in Sandbox Proxy Overview, but again, one more time, just reviewing it. That roles include, for example, matching inbound. If we match an inbound, we can select the outbound and somehow reroute it to other outbound, not the default one. So we can select the like the network, TCP, UDP. We can select protocols, which we're going to cover in this section or in this video. Client, domain suffix, source IPs, and ports, and so on and so forth. Some of them doesn't work. Some of them are, for example, relevant to Android, and some of them are working on Linux. So the target for this video is the protocol sniffing. We already saw that what it is, and probably you should search about the difference between sniffing and spoofing. Sniffing is monitoring the network and somehow gathering and collecting information or metadata, which here we have protocol sniffing, which means we are sniffing or we gather protocol types. And we have these types: HTTP, TLS, quick, STAN, DNS, we already been working with so far, BitTorrent, DTLS, SSH, RDP, and NTP, which is for time. So, and they are going, to be selected, for example, called quick. Client type is going to show, for example, and also SSH client name. And so far we have been working with just DNS. We are going to use other things. So let's go back, and we have action sniff, hijack DNS. This is for hijacking DNS. Also, we have our tunnel interface, so everything comes to the tunnel. So I add another things like action, for example, reject what protocol is HTTP. If the protocol was HTTP, rejected, which means doesn't allow to go out to the outbound tunnel that we have. Let's run this, and we need sudo sandbox run c route sniffing. So this is the very first file. Also, it requires me to provide the password. It's going to, so I said it doesn't allow HTTP. So curl ip.me, which is HTTP actually, is going to be rejected. So HTTP is going to be rejected. Also, if we say or query it over the mix inbound that we have, is going to be rejected. But curl HTTPS IP.me is going to be resolved. Oh, the reason is it doesn't work here because I have to enable the server. So is going to resolve that, but it blocks the HTTP. Immediately you can see, also you can see, let me stop it, you can see here sniffing, protocol is HTTP, and then reject that. Let's flip it to, just for a test, HTTPS. Now it allows HTTP but rejects the HTTPS. So because the TLS one, actually it shouldn't, I forgot, it should be TLS, not HTTPS. So we don't have HTTPS. So if I request for HTTP, it's going to work, but HTTPS is going to be ignored, so, or is rejected. So domain TLS reject. So if the protocol is TLS, let's reject that. So this is the use case basic for using protocol sniffing. And not only doing so, we can do something, for example, more interesting, like routing it to a different outbound. For example, we can say, like, if the protocol is TLS, if the protocol is, let me move it up, not be confusing. So if the protocol is TLS, action should be route, allow it to go. Outbound is direct. So do not send it to the tunnel, but if it's TLS, send it to the host itself directly. It should return our own IP address. So if the protocol is HTTPS, my IP is this, which is my host real IP. If the protocol is HTTP, because we didn't capture that somehow, it goes to the tunnel. Let's reverse it. I mean, saying, okay, HTTP goes directly out from my host, and HTTPS or TLS should go to the tunnel. One more time. HTTP, my host, HTTPS should go to the tunnel. The same is true for any other protocol that have been seeing here. I mean, the HTTP, TLS, quick. If the protocol is one of this that we have, one of these protocols that we have, we can somehow reroute it, we can block it, we can do whatever the sandbox allows us, as we have defined in role actions. Let's go to the role actions, and these are role actions. We can reject, this is 13. Also we can have TLS fragmentation, I don't know, route option we have. We can drop it, which is part of this one. We can hijack the DNS, we already did in testing. Also we can overwrite the address, we can overwrite the port, network strategy, fallback, delay. These are the role actions that we can apply. And protocol ports, sandbox 12, TLS record fragmentation, and action is sniffing, we already did. And also we can select some sniffers that these are the protocols we want to sniff. I mean, we provide an array we didn't use, and if we don't use, everything that's possible is going to be sniffed. So all sniffers enabled by default. But if we say sniffing, and then for example use like this one, this is more specific one, going to saying, I mean, which one I want to be sniffed. If I say just for example DNS and not providing HTTP, then HTTP is not going to be sniffed. So HTTPS goes to the tunnel. HTTP should also go to the tunnel, you can see. But DNS is going to be returned real fast. The reason is yeah, we have it. So because DNS is going to be hijacked, we do nothing to that, it comes back and somehow reroute it. So we can enable, for example, here like TLS1. So TLS also is going to be hijacked or sniffed, actually not hijacked. And then we, for example, send the HTTP to direct, and then TLS we didn't select that, so it goes to the first outbound, which is going to be selected as the default one. It goes to the tunnel. It goes to the tunnel. So IP, not take the curl one. It goes to the tunnel HTTPS, It goes to the tunnel, but we selected the TLS. The TLS should go to the tunnel. HTTP, oh, we didn't sniff that. Actually, it should be HTTP. Going to work. So HTTPS should go to the tunnel. It doesn't know which one to select. The TLS error. Okay, it goes to the tunnel. HTTP should be direct, which is direct. So these are the basic for protocol sniffing. So you can read more the documentation and knowing about, for example, or searching more about sniffing and spoofing. These are for more advanced way to working with a protocol. And we continue our discussion about the routing in sandbox and talking in more advanced way of configuration. So thank you for watching. Anywhere you have seen the video, you are seeing the video, please comment and share your thoughts. Also, we have our TonTab Telegram channel and TonTab repository on my GitHub and profile, so you can ask questions and share your thoughts. Thank you for watching. Let's go to next video.